Hello guys and welcome to my chapter review for chapter 265 of Tokyo Revengers. And the title for chapter 265 is called, Stand By Me. And this chapter starts with more of Mikey's backstory, and we get to see the Valhalla arc from Mikey's perspective. We also got a color page for this chapter, and in this color page we see Mikey facing off with Takemichi. And in the background we see all of the delinquents that got defeated, and the two presidents are the only people who are standing up. We also see the red color that signifies the atmosphere of their battle, and it symbolizes that their fight will definitely get bloody. And before I get into the video guys, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more Tokyo Revengers videos. This chapter starts off with Mikey and Draken, and they are riding bicycles with Takemichi. And Mikey is telling Takemichi about his older brother, Shinichiro. Shinichiro was a reckless person, and he would always challenge people that were way stronger than him to fights. And Takemichi says that Shinichiro sounds like a really cool person. As the narrator Mikey says that he was looking for something other than strength. And that day he met the person who would change his life forever. And that man is Tada Kisaki. In chapter 263, Mikey said that he hates weak guys, and he said that he likes people who are strong. However, as Mikey grew older and more mature, he was looking for something other than strength. We see the scene where Kisaki walks past Takemichi, and after that, Kisaki introduced himself to Mikey. In this chapter, we learn a lot more about Mikey's relationship with Kisaki. And the author goes a lot more in depth about the nature of their bond, and in this chapter we get to see a lot of their conversations that have never been seen before. Even though Kisaki died during the Tenjuku arc, he still left a massive impact on the story. And he plays an important role in this backstory. When we see Mikey's perspective of the Black Dragons arc and the Tenjuku arc, I think that we will see a lot more interactions between Mikey and Kisaki that we have never seen before. The chapter then switches to July 25, 2005, which is the date after Pachin got arrested. And Mikey is meeting up with Kisaki. Kisaki apologizes to Mikey for making him come, and then he tells Mikey that he can get Pachin out of jail. He says that he has someone who can take his place, and Osanai will lie in exchange for money, but he just needs Mikey's approval. We also see that Baji is secretly listening in on the conversation, and he is suspicious of Kisaki. The chapter then switches to the next day, and all of the Toman captains are having a meeting, and they are all sitting at a table. And Mikey tells the captains that he wants to make Kisaki the 3rd division captain. We see the reaction of Baji, and he looks like he is angry, and he is very dissatisfied with Mikey's decision. And Draken and Mitsuya are completely against Mikey's decision as well. Draken says that he will not approve because he knows that Kisaki has some hidden motives. Mitsuya says that he also does not agree with this, and he remarks that this decision is not like Mikey. However, both Smiley and Yasuhiro Muto both agree with Mikey. And Muto agrees because he thinks that Kisaki is the type of guy who could help them grow Toman. Baji loudly voices his opinion, and tells Mikey not to let Kisaki into Toman, and he says that he is not someone that they can trust. But Mikey responds by saying he is useful to them, and he is also the only reason why they can free Pachin from jail. And while he is saying this we can see that Mikey's eyes have changed, and we can see a hint of his dark impulses emerging. When Draken hears Mikey's words he says that if that is his reason then he is even more against it. He says that they didn't form Toman to do these types of dirty tricks. Draken is infuriated, and he immediately storms off with his fists clenched. And Draken says that if Mikey tries to do anything about Pachin, then he will leave Toman. Mitsuya also gets out of his seat, and then he starts to stand up. And then Mitsuya starts talking to Mikey, and Mitsuya says that he knows that Pachin would definitely not like this idea either. We can see that Mikey is angry, and as the narrator he says that being just strong is not enough. The chapter then switches to August 1st, and Mikey is eating at a ramen noodle shop with Kisaki, and Mikey tells Kisaki that there were many objections to him becoming a captain, and almost everyone was against it. Mikey says that he had a big fight with Draken, and he thought that Toman would split in two. And Kisaki tells Mikey that he already knew from the start that Draken would be his enemy. But when Kisaki calls Draken his enemy, Mikey has no reaction at all, and he just continues on with the conversation. Mikey says that when they were fighting, Takemichi started to mediate between them. And when Kisaki heard Mikey say this, he has a very surprised look on his face, and his expression completely changed. Mikey says that Takemichi was so stupid that he literally ended up with shit on his head, and he laughs every time he thinks about it. After they are done eating, Mikey and Kisaki go back to the place where they first met, and they are lying on the grass together. And then Mikey tells Kisaki that he likes him, and these are the same exact words that Mikey said to Takemichi while they were sitting at this same exact place. And this shows the parallel between Takemichi and Kisaki. Mikey says that all the Toman members are good people, but there is something that he can't figure out. He says that there has been something dark inside of his heart, and sometimes this something expands, and it drives him to destroy everything around him. Mikey tells Kisaki that he wants him to stay by his side with that part of him. And while he is staring at the sky, Mikey tells Kisaki that he wants him to be the person who guides him. And Kisaki asks Mikey if he is sure. And Kisaki asks him if he still wants him to guide him even if he does not do it the way he wants him to. And Mikey responds by saying, "Yes, I don't care." As the narrator, Mikey says that being strong is not enough for him, and what he really needs is darkness. Next, the chapter switches to October 31st, which is the Battle of the Bloody Halloween. And the chapter switches to the part where Kisaki makes his entrance on the battlefield, and Kisaki just saved Mikey by knocking out a Valhalla captain with a single punch. After defeating the Valhalla captain, Kisaki then announces himself as the 3rd Division captain, and Kisaki says that he will protect his president from all enemy threats. Next, the chapter switches to the part where Kazutora stabs Baji in the back with a knife. After being stabbed, Baji bleeds out and falls to the floor, and this is when Kisaki starts manipulating Mikey. Kisaki tells Mikey that Kazutora lured Baji into Valhalla just so that he could kill him. And then Kisaki says, "Isn't that right, President?" And while he says this, Kisaki has a devious smile on his face. Mikey has completely gotten taken over by his dark impulses, and his eyes have gone completely white, signifying that he has lost control. Mikey is being surrounded by his dark impulses, and as the narrator Mikey says, "After all I need is darkness." Mikey starts beating up Kazutora, and Mikey is punching Kazutora with the intent to kill. The longer Mikey holds in his dark impulses, the more darkness will end up coming out. Mikey says that he will let himself go until Kazutora is killed. Suddenly at the last minute, Takemichi jumps in the way, and he tries to ruin Kisaki's plan by stopping Mikey. And Takemichi tried to stop Mikey from killing Kazutora. Takemichi has tears in his eyes, and he tries to tell Mikey that Baji stabbed himself in order to protect Kazutora. Mikey's eyes were completely black, symbolizing his darkness. However, when he saw Takemichi, the glimmer of light suddenly showed up in his eyes. Takemichi pulled Mikey away from Kisaki's darkness, and he helped Mikey see the light. And this helped Mikey regain control of his body. And Mikey says, "Takemichi?" And while he says this, Mikey has a confused look on his face, as if he didn't even know Takemichi was there until now. Takemichi started crying, and he just responded by saying Mikey's name. The chapter ends with this scene where Takemichi steps in to help Mikey, and there is a note from the narrator that says, "As Mikey is consumed by darkness, the man who will change his life suddenly appears." In the beginning of this chapter, Mikey said he was looking for something other than strength, and I think that Takemichi is the thing that he was looking for. As Mikey said to Takemichi after the Black Dragon's arc, physical strength is not important, and losing or winning fights is not important. What's really important is not losing yourself. This also parallels the panel where Kisaki tells Takemichi that he is the dark hero. I say this because Kisaki symbolizes Mikey's dark personality, and Takemichi symbolizes Mikey's light personality. Kisaki is the person who will guide Mikey into the path of darkness, and we saw this in almost every future timeline. However, Takemichi is the opposite of Kisaki, and Takemichi is the person who will guide Mikey to the light. Anyway guys, that was it for my chapter review of chapter 265 of Tokyo Revengers. Also let me know what you guys think of the chapter in the comments below. And like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and thank you for watching.